Cool. You ready if I ask you some questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So, can you give me kind of the beginning of your story?
Okay. Well, I grew up in a housing project in Los Angeles. And it was pretty, most of the area I lived in was heavily with gangs, and so most of the associates are people that I associated myself with a lot of guys that was young like me, and they were involved in gangs very heavily. But that was my circle of association that I was going to school, and so that was the main people that I was hanging out with, and we would get into a lot of trouble, but at that time, your young, trouble was fun, so you really didn't look at it as something that will get you in a situation that will, bring so much pain and grief that it had brought. So with that said, I was going to school, and I was being bused to the Valley because I got kicked out the LA school district, and end up I was asking one of my homeboys to take me to a check cashing place to buy me a bus pass so I could get back to school, because I never told my mom I got kicked off the bus that took me to the Valley. So in the process of doing that, I would order my bus pass. I looked to my right, he was in the parking lot robbing someone, and when I seen that, I ended up exiting out the left side door and went home. And come to find out that he ended up shooting the gentleman, and he ended up passing away. And he had a prior record for a previous attempted murder, and the check cashing place had a surveillance camera. So upon us getting out of the car, the surveillance camera caught all that, and they told the gentleman if he doesn't help find me, then he's gonna end up facing the death penalty. Because I didn't have no record, so he told the police where I lived, and they came and got me. I turned myself in, and they would ask me what happened. I told them I didn't see anything. And so to make a long story short, I was arrested, and due to the fact that they wanted me to testify against them in court, but I told them I didn't see anything. I didn't know what happened. So I ended up going to trial and get found guilty of accessory to first degree murder. And it was basically due to the fact that I did not alert the police to what it was that I saw. And we were both in trial together. They didn't separate us because they waited to a year, and then they held me they tried me as an adult. It took place at 16, held me for a year, tried me as an adult at 17. And so ended up sentenced to 27 years to life with the possibility of parole. So, and I ended up doing 29 years and 4 months. A total of 29 years.
You were in jail for 29 years and 4 months.
Yeah.
Wow. Not a lot of people that I know have been through that. What basically was your experience in jail, in prison? What was it violent? Was it a lot of gangs in there? Was there...
Oh yeah, it was...
Or not?
Pretty much basically what prison is. Prison is a gated community of what's out in the free world. Basically,
really? Okay.
Literally everything that's in prison, in free society is in prison.
Wow.
Gangs, drugs, prostitution as far institution. It's not necessarily with other inmates, but you have had female correctional officers.
Oh man, really?
As well as male correctional officers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of stuff that I came into and I witnessed, and it's something that never leaves your mind.
Yeah.
Just a lot of stuff. For the first time being in an environment such as that, and you just see how relatively close it is to being in the free world.
Mm-hmm. Would you say it's more negative or more violent than the free world?
Well, when I first went to state prison, I went to a level 4 because they would ask you questions like, if you have a high school diploma, you would say no. So that's basically like it was a number system. It was like, well, you don't have a high school GED, or you don't have a GED or high school diploma. That's like 12 times 4. So that'll be a total of 48 points right there. If you never had a job, the numbers can be something like 15 times 2. So that's 30 points added with the 48 points. You never served in the military, it can be another points times 2 or 3. And so that added up, and you get close to 180, 200 points. That's a level 4. That's a high prison in California. And so with that, it's a lot of racial division, and that's basically done upon the inmates within themselves, because it's like powers and numbers. So it's like all the whites hung out in one area, all the blacks hung out in one area, all the southern Hispanics, northern Hispanics, everyone had a stake of the yard that was their territory, and you was not to be caught in that area. Or it can lead to a major situation if two cooler heads don't come together and straighten out the situation without any violence being brought forth.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Through those like really tough things in prison, did you learn anything that you could pass on to people who maybe haven't been through that before? Any bits of wisdom from prison that you could pass on to someone who hadn't had to go through that experience?
Well, wisdom dealing with that situation, you have to, being inside, you have to align yourself with people who are trying to make it better for themselves in order to leave that situation.
Yeah.
The best thing I can say is you cannot allow yourself to be you're physically incarcerated, but the bad things happen when you allow yourself to be mentally incarcerated as well. And it'll make it hard for you to make those decisions to better yourself in order to make that transition to physical freedom and mental freedom.
Yeah.
So where you remove from that environment, period.
Wow. Any tips on how to make sure you're mentally freeing yourself?
Well, they have programs in there, self-help programs in there that you have to be willing to take. And you have to be not only willing to take, you have to be willing to listen to what's being said, because there's always going to be someone in there that is trying to want to do the same thing that, well, I'll say like this. There was someone, I wanted to make that change to be able to make it home, and it was someone, there always going to be someone that says something that you identify with. And then from there, you're going to like, there is something really to learn here. So you start paying more attention. Then when you pay attention, you get involved. And then when you get involved, you start thinking on a lot of things. And when you think on them, then it brings upon those actions. And once you execute that, and they become such a habit in a positive way, that you start picking up other people in prison that see the changes you made, and then go from one individual to two, from 2 to 5, and then all of a sudden it's a group of you gentlemen who are going through these self-help programs, these classes, and y'all interchanging positive conversations, and you're relying on one another to help you still continue on that path to exit the prison system. So you helping one another to become much more determined, stronger, and what we like the word that was used last night, you become more brave in making these decisions that, you know, when you do make them, you're going to get a lot of flack. Because there's going to be people that's going to look at you and say, oh man, you done got, they still use the words in there, you done got soft. Now you want to, at first you was with the negative, and now you want to move away from us. And so you just get a lot of flack from doing the right thing. And that's where you have to have that support system, because I done had one and two individuals who allowed that to affect them, and then they end up joining back in with the individual. So you have to have that support system there.
Can you tell me a little bit about then once you were out of prison, what were some of the positive changes that you made that got you to the place that you're at now?
Well, it once again is when I left, I went into a transitional home, and there I still had to seek those self-help groups. I had to meet with counselors once a month to speak on how my transition is going, because society is close to 3 generations, 3 decades, and we had to sit with counselors to express how the changes in society, how we are dealing with them. Is it too overwhelming? That had to take classes to help deal with the anxieties that we were going through, and stress management classes, anger management classes. We had to take classes that help us learn how to navigate in finding housing. It was just a whole bunch of tools that it was protocol in order to stay where we was at. The transitional home, it was in order to stay there and be funded. These classes were mandatory that we took, and if you choose not to take them, then it comes down to the point where you have to deal with it becomes the situation that handled by me and my parole officer, and the parole officer will make the decision whether that can be considered violation of parole, and it could lead you back into prison. So and you will end up going back under the format in which you left. So it was just important that regardless of what I may have wanted to do, or say wanted to go straight home to my family, it was important that I took advantage of this, because it was helping you make that transition back into society a little step at a time, instead of throwing you right out there and expecting you to be able to handle all the changes automatically on your own.
How much of your wisdom do you think you gained from those classes versus from maybe your parents or friends? Or
I gained a lot of wisdom. You can say it's like you knew of all this stuff, but you choose to ignore it because you thought you were missing something by not. It makes it seem like you were missing something if I wouldn't hang out with my friends. It's like coming home you know you have to do your homework, but I want to go out and hang out with my friends because they're having much more fun than me sitting here doing my homework. So saying that, it's like I knew right from wrong, but you choose to do other things thinking you're missing out on something, and that was totally not the case. So I realized that doing the right thing as far as taking these classes, paying attention, taking the information and allowing it to help set a positive pattern in my life, that was much more important than being out in the streets or being out with a group of individuals who are not doing anything productive to make a success out of their life.
So good. Any last bits of wisdom that you could give to people kind of my situation, my age, my position, whatever?
I think one of the things for me is that being incarcerated has taught me just to keep the simple things in front of me. Say, like, I'm not working a job just to fill my life with a lot of material things. I'm so down to earth to the point of I'm just satisfied with the needs that are taken care of in life. Rent, the bills are taken care of, food, clothes on your back, and employment, a job to take care of all these things. And with that, I'm just simple. So I just have a simple eye, and keeping a simple eye, I'm not, it helps you keep your eye off other people who have all like when I was young, the luxuries of life, all the toys that seems to make a life more exciting. But I have learned that is not the case, and I'm just totally content with just the basic necessity being taken care of in life.
So good. Okay, my last question is, when someone on the street asks us for help, is there a way for us to tell if they really need help and what we can give them to help them? Because I think some people just want to take advantage of rich people, or and if we do give them something, they're going to use it for something bad. Is there a good way to help, and a good way to know who are those people who will benefit from that help?
I think a good way to help, outside of probably something as far as money, I think a good way to help is always to have an answer to where a person can go, an address, a phone number, someone whom they can talk to that can really help them in that situation that they feel they need help in, because I may not have it at that time, but I may have a connection through a phone number or something on just say the World Wide Web or something they can connect to. And if they don't have the means to do that, probably can have something like a hotline number that they can tap into and call and express what it is to their need, and it may have someone on that phone that can connect them to someone to help bring about a resolve to what it is they're going through.
So good. So, like, if I had a card printed that had a bunch of phone numbers and saying this phone number will help you with this, and this safe house will help you with this, and giving that.
Yeah, that could be something else.
We actually have one for anybody that is going to read this. It's based in LA. On the Giving Keys website, we have like an advocacy card that you can go on. It's a PDF that you can print and like throw a few in your glove compartment or your wallet, and it lists all the information of the partners that the Giving Keys works with to help direct people to good resources in LA.
GivingKeys.com?
TheGivingKeys.com, yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys. Great interview. Appreciate